Brussels bureaucrats have advised EU states not to respond to an online questionnaire the UK has issued in a bid to reduce trade border delays caused by red tape. The European Commission is reportedly unhappy that British officials asked member states directly about how they are equipped to facilitate new checks on goods coming into the UK. Brussels is said to have branded the UK's request for information about each EU state's capacity to issue sanitary and phytosanitary (SPS) export certificates as problematic. And an official at the EU's Health Directorate, DG Santé, reportedly fired off a written warning to officials at the UK's Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, DEFRA. It advised them against using channels outside the EU-UK trade agreement for communication, according to documents obtained by a British newspaper. However, even a leading Remainer is among those criticising Brussels for its heavy-handed approach. And Brexiteer John Redwood has accused the EU of being unfriendly when it would be much more sensible for them to be cooperative, as they export a lot more to us than we export to them. Sir Malcolm Rifkind, who voted Remain but self-describes as a moderate Eurosceptic, appeared to agree. He said that Brussels could have treated it a bit more lightly. It is not exactly a capital offence. But he acknowledged that Brussels was strictly correct, because trade is an EU responsibility, not the responsibility of individual member states. This view was echoed by former Business Secretary Peter Mandelson, who served as EU Trade Commissioner from 2004 to 2008. Mandelson said that while it may be tempting to try and circumvent Brussels, this doesn't work and is counterproductive. He told The Independent, the British government should be doubling down on a good relationship with the Commission and building trust. Britain desperately needs this in order to mitigate our losses in trade. This sentiment was echoed by David Davis, the UK's first Brexit secretary. He said that the EU is always suspicious of any attempt to talk directly to member states. Davis added that good diplomacy tries to understand the person you are negotiating with, or dealing with, always. One industry figure said there are still many unanswered questions, and a lot of uncertainty and confusion among European businesses about the certificates they will need and how border controls will operate. However, Shane Brennan, chief executive of the Cold Chain Federation, also told The Independent that the spat was unhelpful friction. Nonetheless, former Brexit Minister Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg has dismissed the row as a storm in a teacup. He told The Independent, "I don't think we should be imposing these controls at all. I managed when I was Brexit Opportunities Minister to delay them because they purely impose costs on British consumers for no real advantage. It seems to me to be a protectionist measure designed to make trade more difficult, and not in the interests of the UK economy. An EU official said, "It is up to the UK to draw up a workable import regime, taking into account the significant volume of exports from the EU to the UK." Nevertheless, the Commission is in close contact with the UK authorities and Member States in order to understand the consequences and requirements resulting from the future implementation of the Border Target Operating Model for the EU. A spokesperson for the UK government said they were creating a new world-class system to provide protection from security and biosecurity threats, and that this will transform the UK's border controls. They vowed the new system would prevent border delays by reducing the need for physical checks and by ensuring that checks take place away from ports where this is needed to allow traffic to flow freely. We continue to engage extensively with industry and will publish the target operating model shortly, added the spokesperson.